The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
Milton's freaking Militiaman. My name is King Prime. Welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today, on the inaugural review of Power Month, we're going to be taking a look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered Black Ranger. Yes, here we have our dance fighting master, Zack, and we're finally going to be taking a look at this figure on the channel here, as well as the rest of the Ranger team. But before we do that, let's take a look at what Zack comes in. On the front, on the top left there, we do have that kind of rainbow motif, sort of almost as if he's teleporting Black Ranger helmet, as well as a photo of the figure itself surrounded by the purple energy on the front of the box there. Big Power Rangers Lightning Collection Remastered logo up at the top right. On the bottom, however, it says Mighty Morphin Black Ranger, because that's what he is. On the top of that, again, we have the Lightning Collection trades, as well as the 30th anniversary of the Power Rangers line. I'm a year late reviewing these figures. Whoops, my bad. Side of the box here, we do have the original MMPR logo, as well as Mighty Morphin Black Ranger, and a photo of the Black Ranger morphing. On the other side, we do have the full Ranger team photo of black, blue, green, yellow, red, and pink on the side there, as well as the 30th logo again. And on the back, if you can believe it, there's the 30th logo again. There's the Black Ranger morphing, same as the photo on the side, and there is everything that the figure comes with. On the bottom, it says his name is Zack Taylor. That is correct. He's the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger. There is some legal jargon, and that is about it. I say in every single video, my friends, but you don't really care about the packaging if you're a box or card collector, which I'm not. I'm here to open and review toys, and that is just what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze, and here is Zack out of the packaging. Before we take a look at him, let's take a look at what he comes with. And as you can see, he does come with quite a bit. Largest of those, of course, and most prominently displayed are the effects pieces, the purple like morphing energy for the Black Ranger. Because as any Power Rangers fan knows, when the Black Ranger morphs, whenever there's a Black Ranger, it's always purple energy, because animating a black energy effect is difficult, and so they have it be purple, and that's the way it's always been. These don't link together, they're just individual hollowed out pieces that you're supposed to put around the Ranger while he morphs, or while he's like powering up. It's almost like a Dragon Ball-esque. It's definitely a cool inclusion. I like effects pieces. He also comes with 3 different versions of the Blade Blaster. He has the closed Blade Blaster, which is very nicely painted on the front. However, the handle is kind of lacking any kind of real paint there. In fact, I think that all of them are. Unless I'm having some weird like Mandela effect, I'm pretty sure that the handle has at least like black paint on it down the center. I'll pull up a picture right here and you can be the judge of it yourself. He can hold, of course. There is rarely a trigger finger necessary for Power Rangers, so all you gotta do really is put the Blade Blaster in sideways and then turn it while it's in his hand. And eventually it'll slot in there and you'll have the Ranger holding the blaster perfectly. Just put it in and then slide his fingers in through that little slot there. And even though it'll be much harder to do because of, the way that it's sculpted, you can have him holding the full extended Blade Blaster, which is nice, and blade mode, I should say. And because Zack has the holster permanently attached to his belt, you can just plop it in there, like so, and it'll stay there, and I'll keep it there for the rest of the review. So that's that. Zack does also come with his signature weapon, Power Axe, which is a very nicely detailed accessory. As you can see, it has the mammoth sigil on the top of it right there. It is, of course, painted in the same black and yellow color scheme that we see with the silver barrel, because, of course, as we know, the Power Axe can turn into a cannon. To do that, of course, you can also have the cocking action, as you see when Zack uses the Power Axe in cannon mode. He can cock it like so. And so I like to think that this is when it is in cannon mode. This is when it is in axe mode. So it's nice that it's articulated, and of course, Zack can hold it in either mode. All you gotta do is, like I said earlier, extend the hand just a little bit here to make this easier on myself, put it in sideways, and then turn it in his hand, and eventually you will have him being able to wield it like so. So you can hold it in cannon mode, or of course he can hold it, if you just put this up, in axe mode as well, like that. And you can just wield it like a normal axe, which is perfectly fine. One thing that I discovered on my own that you can actually do is if you have this in cannon mode, you can take a blast effect part from Transformers, which I've reviewed a few times. I had this one specifically is from Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus. You can put it in the barrel and it fits, and it'll stay perfectly fine. So if you want to have a nice big blast effect for Zack, there you go. If this didn't come with the power axe, this wouldn't necessarily be a fully realized figure, would it? But moving on. Of course, Zack does have his helmet, which is very nice, done up in silver and white. The visor is trimmed in white, however, the mammoth tusks and this part here, and of course his mouth, are all done up in silver, and of course the eyes are yellow as well. This is just, a swappable head. There's no Star Wars stuff going on where you can actually swap out the helmet or put it on top. It's a swappable head. You just take off Zack's head and that will go on perfectly easy. One of the most well-proportioned helmets I've seen in a while. It feels a little bit squished, but I don't think it is. I think it might just be me misremembering how the Black Ranger looks. But this looks perfectly fine. Absolutely fantastic looking. I have really no complaints about this. I'm sure there are people that are going to be able to point out every single inaccuracy that they can find with this figure, especially with the head sculpt, because I know that Power Rangers Lightning Collection doesn't necessarily have a great track record with helmets, but this helmet seems to be perfectly fine. I have no qualms with it whatsoever. However, I do prefer my Rangers without their helmets because I like the civilian head sculpts. It's something I've always preferred, so I'm going to show that one instead. However, also included in this figure is the morphing hands. As you can see, there's the gripping and the flared hands, and of course that is to go with the power morpher. As you can see, the Mastodon coin is right there in the center, and the electricity is sort of like a pinkish purple. I think it's supposed to be... I think it's the same for everyone, in fact, but if it isn't, I'll know by the next review. So the lighting effect with the open morpher is pinkish purple. The coin is, of course, in there, the power coin, so that looks perfectly fine and is obviously the Mastodon. There's no mistaking that for anything else. You can, of course, put that in his hand like so. And then, if you were to take out either of his hands, the morphing hand, other one, replicate the morph sequence pretty well. I wouldn't say that this is perfect. Of course, this is just a little bit off center, and even though this figure has fantastic butterfly joints, it doesn't necessarily reach all the way, but the idea is there, and I definitely would consider this a good morphing pose. Surround this with the purple effects pieces and you have a perfectly suitable morphing effect, and in fact I think that's actually how I'm going to display this figure. The only anachronism, of course, is the belt buckled on here. If he's holding the morpher, then what the hell is this? I wish this was removable, or you could somehow put this into there, but that would be too complex and it would never work. So wishful thinking, but I'll have to get a piece of black electrical tape or something and put it over this. And the final accessories that this figure comes with is just a pair of fisted hands, so that Zack can throw hands with some monsters and look very spiffy while doing it, which is very nice. But on to Zack himself. He is a pretty good likeness of Walter E. Jones. From some angles, it's like perfect, but from some angles, I'm like, this is not the guy. I've met Walter E. Jones. He doesn't necessarily look like this figure, but from some angles, like right there, I think, and like even from right directly on, if you have him looking down from right on, not necessarily the most like him. I don't know, maybe the eyes are too far apart. I'm not sure. I do like the hair sculpt though. I like the fade. You can see his skin through his hair, which is very cool. But going down onto his body, of course, he does have the normal Black Ranger suit that we'd expect. And as I stated earlier, he has the Mastodon power coin in the morpher on his belt buckle. His belt is of course, black lined on the holster and around the entirety of the belt, which is very nice to see. Down, however, he continues on his boots with the black diamonds, his gauntlets with the black diamonds, and on the back with the 2 white diamonds, and on the front with the 3 white diamonds. This is, you know, we all know what the MMPR suit looks like at this point. If you don't, then I don't know where the hell you've been for the last 30 years, but this is normal understanding at this point. I don't really know what else to say about it other than they did really well. As for the articulation, Zack does have a very nice ball joint. I think it's actually a dumb ball joint at the head, so you can get a very good range of motion, and of course the ins. And yeah, there's even a joint at the very bottom of the neck inside of the torso that can allow for even more movement there, so you can get a full range of motion. It has a full range of motion at the shoulders. It can go all the way out and all the way around, and as you can see there, it has a fantastic butterfly joint, so you can get his arm going pretty far across his chest and very far back. Not like super far. I think you can even modify this to go even a little bit farther. I'm not going to try that right now, though. Obviously, I don't want to accidentally break this thing. It's 1 in the morning and I'm reviewing this. He does have an upper bicep swivel on top of the butterfly joint, as well as double jointed elbows, which I think is common for Hasbro 6-inch, but that's it. Nothing at the gauntlet, however, but he does have a swivel and an in and out on the fisted hands, and on the other various hands that he comes with, he does have different articulation. For instance, on the morphing hand, he has an up and down joint, like so. However, this, I guess, would technically be a side to side because of the way that he's supposed to hold this morpher at the angle. On the holding stuff hands, he does have up and down joints on both of those. He does have a diaphragm joint, so you can get his reps in very well. He can sit up all the way and he can arch all the way back. He has, of course, at his diaphragm, he has a ball joint, and now he has an ab crunch as well. As you can see, there's a joint in there, that T joint, which is very good. Nothing at the waist proper, obviously, and I don't think you really need that because of the joint up here. However, he does have, and mind the angle here, ball jointed hips, which allow for a very good range of motion. However, also included are the segmented drop down hips to allow for even more articulation at the leg. He can wrap his arm around his leg and pull it into his chest. That's how flexible this figure is. And of course, when you don't want him to have those gaps or have that articulation, you just press them right back up and it goes back into his hips, and he just has, you know, a pretty meh articulation there. But pull it out and you get all the way up, which is very cool. Very nice addition. He also has a upper thigh swivel, as well as a double jointed knee, which is pretty common for Hasbro 6-inch figures, especially for a Lightning collection. I don't think there was ever a point when there wasn't double jointed knees. I'm not sure though. He does have a rotation at the boot cut, which is very nice, as well as a foot up, foot down, and a fantastic ankle pivot, so he can get, and a pretty good ankle pivot. However, it's not necessarily, actually, well, I lied. This is fantastic. He can definitely do the full Van Damme if his hips would allow it. Unfortunately, because of the way the holster is, it's not going to allow for full Van damage unless you remove the Blade Blaster, and even then, it's kind of hard to get into that pose all the way out, at least. But you get the good amount of articulation, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Overall, fantastic articulation for Zack here. Let's bring in some other figures to show you exactly how he stacks up against others. Freeze frame.
Robo bitch.
Freeze frame on freeze. Considering Zack is the first of the Lightning collection that we've ever taken a look at on this channel, I obviously don't have any figures to compare him to yet. Next review I will. But as for right now, here is Zack next to an old friend of the channel, and one of the last, not the last, 6-inch figure that I reviewed, Halo the Spartan collection, Linda 058, who, oh my god, towers over Zack. You actually just keep him right behind her so you can see how he stacks up. I mean, he doesn't even come up to her neck barely. Zack is next to a random Star Wars, the Black Series, Perch Trooper, who he's just about the same height as, even with the helmet on. So yeah, Linda absolutely towers over him. I mean, that's not even a fair comparison. And then, of course, the Purge Trooper is about normal size. So That's how they stack up. Let's move on to my final thoughts so I can tell you exactly what I think about Zack. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze. So overall, this figure is perfectly fine. I obviously don't have as high of a benchmark for Lightning Collection figures as I have for like Star Wars The Vintage Collection or any Transformers figure. This is the first one of its kind that I've taken a look at, and despite the fact that I have other Lightning Collection figures that I've looked at outside of this review, it doesn't change the fact that this figure is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. If I have to really nitpick about it, I'd have to bring up the fact that his hips are like really loose. As you can see, they do this kind of weird shimmy thing to the side to side, which I don't like. Obviously, that's a QC issue, which might be limited to my copy or it might be a widespread thing. I don't know, and I have no way to know. So if that's, if you have this figure and it's like that on yours, let me know. Until then, this thing is perfectly fine. I have no real qualms with it. It's accurate to how I remember the suit. It has great accessories. It has great articulation. It ticks all my boxes personally. So if you like Zack, or you like the Black Ranger, you like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you like Power Rangers in general, make sure you share this video with your friends, share it with Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Keeps helping the channel grow. Keeps helping me pump out this content. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.